Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Many veterans looking for their place in civilian life are finding that agriculture offers a lifeline. Chickpeas and spinach are the fresh fall ingredients for this week's recipe in the heart of the home. And microgreens are offering small-scale farmers a chance to raise a crop in an urban environment.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Hidden Springs Family Farm in Palmyra, Virginia. Many of the veterans who enlisted in the aftermath of the September 11th terrorist attacks are now completing a 20-year commitment to the armed forces. Burke Moeller reports that now some of those veterans will go from protecting the homeland to cultivating it.
According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the average age of a Virginia farmer is 58 and a half years old. There is room for hundreds of younger farmers in agriculture's future, and that's where military veterans come in. Last year marked the 20th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attacks. And after that terrible day, the USO estimates 181,510 Americans enlisted in the armed forces. Those who made the military their career for 20 years are now looking for their next opportunity. Programs like the Arcadia Center for Sustainable Food and Agriculture are helping to train veterans like Marcus Robertson for a career in farming.
The more I learned, the more I realized how much there was to learn and how long it was going to take. And here it is, 2022, and I'm still here and I'm still learning. Because the great thing about farming and agriculture is that it's a continuous learning environment. You're challenged every day. And some days you know exactly what to do. Other days you're kind of like, well, I think I kind of know what to do. And then you do it and either it does work or it doesn't work. But what's really cool is that you learn something. It doesn't work. Or, wow, that did work. So let me, kind of file that in the mental Rolodex. And, so if it happens again, I know what to do.
Arcadia's Veteran Farm Incubator Program isn't the only place where veterans can use the skills they learned in the service in a career in agriculture, but it is the only place where veterans can practice agriculture on land that once belonged to the first Commander-in-Chief. The property is part of Woodlawn Estate, which was once part of George Washington's Mount Vernon. Graduates work a few acres of the property to learn, make mistakes, and learn again before taking on the work and financial commitment of a farm of their own.
We use the phrase adapt and overcome, which is appropriate, but here we're not adapting so that we can overwhelm. We're not adapting so that we can conquer. We're not adapting so that we can necessarily win as much as we learn to work with what we have. What we have is the land. Past the land, we have the dirt. If we do it right, we end up with soil. And if we do it really well from that soil, from that healthy soil, comes some great produce, some fruits, some vegetables, some flowers.
For those who go through the Arcadia program, this is what many are aiming for: a farm out in the country, far removed from the noise and the stress of military life. Which isn't to say that farm life isn't stressful. Indeed, it can be. Dewey and Barbara Haynes operate Hidden Springs Family Farm in Fluvanna County. They grow crops, including several kinds of peppers, raise chickens, and operate a farm store. They're also planning to add beef cattle to the mix. The couple met in 2006 while they were both in the Army in Kuwait during the height of the Iraq War.
One thing led to another, and here we are now. She says that I am the best souvenir she ever brought back from deployment. Who needs another rug when she can have an MP?
Once they were both finished with their service years, they worked as government contractors before deciding on agriculture.
She came home one night, 1 month before I was supposed to retire, She can't really remember what she'd seen or heard of that day. And she goes, "What do you think about being a farmer?" And we got into the whole conversation that she sort of just described. And I said, "It sounds like an absolute great job, because much as we love the Army, as much as we love working for the federal government and appreciate all the chances and opportunities we had, we're not sure we wanted to stay at a desk job for the rest of our lives."
The couple are graduates of another Arcadia program, one based on the weekend warrior model of the Army Reserve. But instead of showing up in uniform one weekend a month, students in the Veteran Farmer Reserve program show up one weekend a month for a year to get hands-on training in agriculture. They also shadow farmers in Virginia and Maryland.
Most farmers that we meet, believe that success is a plateau and there's enough of a market out there for everybody. We also try to be considerate that if somebody else is already doing something, that, we don't do exactly the same thing that they're doing.
Jeremy Eng served during Operation Desert Storm and saw action in Somalia and other hotspots. His family had agriculture in their background, though they tried to steer him away from that.
My grandfather farmed. My father farmed as well. They both farmed on the weekend. They were both doctors. And my father told me in high school, I don't care how much you want to farm, you need a real job that pays the bills, and farming won't do it. And so I was pushed not to go into farming, but had a passion for it. Ironically, when I got out of the service, he was having a lot of trouble with staff for different reasons. So I came back to help for 6 months or a year, and 20 years later, I'm still here doing it and loving it, and you couldn't drag me away.
Eng operates Lakota Ranch on more than 700 acres in Fauquier County. He raises Devon beef cattle, lambs, chicken, and other livestock. He has also used his property to help veterans get into agriculture.
Service to stewardship, which is an introduction to lots of different types of agriculture for ex-servicemen and women. So you would come out to the farm. We hosted it several years. It rotates to different farms, but you get to work with gardening, you get to work with livestock, you get to work with old hand tools, and the idea being get your hands in the dirt, get your hands on the animals, and not just me, but lots of folks have found it very therapeutic.
Hard work, long hours, self-sacrifice. These are just a few of the traits that translate from military service to agriculture. For those veterans looking to their next challenge, it could be an opportunity to keep serving by providing for the future. In Fauquier County, I'm Burke Moeller reporting. There are a number of organizations helping those who have served our country in the military transition into a career in agriculture. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has several educational and lending programs for would-be farmers. The Farmer Veteran Coalition and the Veterans to Farmers organization are two private groups with the stated goal of offering insight, education, and mentorship opportunities at the national level. Virginia Cooperative Extension works with veterans in its Small Farm Outreach program. There's even a special branding and marketing program for farm products produced by veteran farmers called Homegrown by Heroes.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, have you had problems growing dogwood trees? I'm going to talk about the new varieties you can plant. Stay with us.
We're stronger together, especially at this difficult time. For over 90 years, we've watched our membership grow, and we're honored to be part of such a special community. Thank you to the farmers who provide for us every day. Virginia Farm Bureau is proud to serve our members, their families, and to give back to our local communities. That's the Farm Bureau way.
Dogwood trees are a beloved landscape plant in a Virginia garden. However, they can have disease issues. Mark Viette shows us a new variety that can thrive in tough climates. In the Garden.
Our native dogwoods, Cornice, Florida, grows all the way from parts of Florida up into Canada, especially through the Appalachian Mountains. They really don't like full, hot, dry sun, especially during drought periods. This is our native dogwood here, but there is a problem. they are subject to maybe 2 or 3 different fungal diseases that can affect them. And if you look here, this dogwood is starting to die back. The foliage has leaf spots. Some of the branches also are dying back and have no growth. In fact, they have leaves on the branches, but the leaves are dead. And that's why I recommend that maybe you plant some of the new hybrid dogwoods. Don Egolf from Rutgers University has hybridized some of these new dogwoods with the Chinese dogwood. He's crossed them, and that has brought disease resistance and better foliage during the summer months. We'll go look at some other examples of dogwoods. This is a great example of our native dogwood tree. It's out in the blazing sun all day. They sort of like some protection from the sun if you can give them that environment, especially if you can't irrigate. But you can see they start to die back. First, they have a lot of water sprouts. These are growths up and down and along the trunk of the plant. That is a sign that maybe your tree is under stress. And the upper part, as you see, is so stressed out, it has died back. But after you get the water sprouts, if you look at the base, you get a lot of growth from the base, because a fungal disease affects the trunks and the stems, and it sort of prevents water flow and so forth through the main trunk, and then it dies back. But on the other hand, there are some that look fantastic. You have an option to grow this type of dogwood tree. They're part of a whole new group of new hybrids, and there's different types. It was our Florida dogwood, common dogwood, cross-pollinated with some of the Chinese dogwoods and other varieties, and now we have what you see here. It can resist drought. It can resist disease. And the only main difference between the two is our common dogwood produces fruit that the birds eat. This dogwood here produces flowers that are larger, but no fruit. Some varieties you might look for that I like: Aurora, Venus, Constellation, Milky Way, and fantastic plants, quick growing, understory tree that you see here. Try the new dogwoods. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Coming up on Heart of the Home, spinach and chickpea curry. We hope you'll stay with us.
And now, a sneak peek into a day in the life of a Virginia dairy cow. They get their day started. They have some lunch. Get some exercise. Spend time with their friends. And then end their day with dairy sweet dreams. Real dairy, real life, real delicious.
What would you make with fresh Virginia spinach and chickpeas? Chef Tammy Brawley shows us how to mix these ingredients into a delicious curry in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a delicious spinach and chickpea curry. A lot of people don't know, but curry means actually more than the spice itself, curry powder. Curry means mixture, and today is no such or is definitely not an exception. It's going to be a lot of mixtures here. We are going to spray our pan that's already warming up a little bit with a little bit of olive oil. And we're going to add our nice solid ingredients to start with. We have got some onions and some garlic. All right. Can't go wrong with onions and garlic. All right, to that we are going to add some chopped or some grated ginger, I should say. I'm using a microplane here. We've got some ginger here, some whole ginger root. We're going to add just a bit more. Ginger is actually one of the healthiest things that you can eat in any way, shape, or form. I use it in quite a bit of my cooking. All right. Now we're going to add a combination of spices. We've got some cayenne, we've got some turmeric, some coriander, some cardamom there. We're going to add that together. All right, you'll feel it to start to dry up a little bit on the bottom of the pan, and it's pretty much time to add your liquids. The recipe is going to call for crushed tomatoes. It's okay to use diced tomatoes. Don't worry about that. The cooking is going to break them down, so don't stress out if you can't find crushed. You can use the diced. All right, now it's not so dry on the bottom, which is great. We're going to add some full-fat coconut milk. I love coconut. I love all sorts of Asian flavors here. So we're going to add the coconut milk and get that nice and blended. I'm going to just get that coconut milk broken up. It's breaking up quite nicely, and it's going to simmer in a few minutes for about 15 or so. We're not quite done adding our ingredients, however. We still want to add about a half a cup of vegetable broth. This is pretty much vegan, but you can certainly add chicken stock if you prefer. And we're going to add what's called nutritional yeast. Now, nutritional yeast is actually deactivated yeast, and it is actually used in a lot of vegan cooking. It forms a whole protein. We want about 2 tablespoons of the nutritional yeast in that, and it's going to give it a little bit of thickening. And then we're going to add 1 can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans. They have been rinsed. And then we're going to add a handful of chopped cilantro. And now we're going to pop the lid on. It's going to simmer for about 15 minutes. All right, so we're back. Our curry has simmered for about 15 minutes. We're going to add our finishing touches to it. Smells heavenly in here. We've turned our heat off here. We're going to add our finishing touches. We've got some garam masala, which is a combination of cinnamon, coriander, cumin, cardamom, and some black pepper, nutmeg, and cloves. And we're going to add a little bit of fresh spinach to this. I would recommend you use baby spinach because it is a bit more tender. Might look like I added a lot, but it does cook down pretty quickly. If you choose to use the adult spinach or mature spinach, you want to get those tough ends and cut those off. And now we have a bowl of brown rice waiting. We're going to go ahead and serve some curry over top of that. You can see those nice chickpeas there, those tomatoes, and that delicious spinach. And I really wish you guys could smell this. It smells heavenly. Coconut milk. All right. And there we have it. We have a delicious spinach and chickpea curry. I'm Tammy Brawley with The Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Chickpeas are also known as garbanzo beans, or even the Egyptian pea. A member of the legume family, they are very high in protein, dietary fiber, folate, and minerals like iron and phosphorus. Chickpeas are a key cooking ingredient in many Mediterranean and Middle Eastern countries. Often they're ground into a paste known as hummus or turned into flour. They're also important ingredients in Indian cuisine, used in salads, soups, and stews, along with curry. In 2019, Indian farmers grew 70% of the world's chickpeas. Agriculture researchers are encouraging Virginia farmers to raise chickpeas for local markets.
You may have seen something new at a farmer's market or at a restaurant in recent years. Microgreens. Ricky Gibson reports that this agriculture niche market is offering opportunity for smaller scale producers.
Microgreens are essentially very, very young vegetable seedlings. Usually, they're harvested right after they develop their first set of true leaves. While they can be used to enhance flavor or provide visual interest to a dish, many consumers eat them for their nutritional boost.
Many studies have shown when you look at things, so many different vitamins, so many different phytochemicals are definitely at higher percentages in the tissues of these small plants. Whether you have them on an entree, you have them in a smoothie, or in a salad, or in a sandwich even with something else, they can be a great addition.
The main idea of the microgreens is that they're super concentrated in terms of its nutrient value versus the adult versions.
Justin Upshaw is an Army veteran who grew interested in raising microgreens in 2021. His grandfather always had a garden, and this offered an opportunity to start his own agribusiness in his home. He says his customers definitely are focused on the health benefits of consuming microgreens.
Those of us starting to realize you've got to take a little bit better care of yourself if you want to make it a lot longer and enjoy those grandchildren. And that is definitely my base. Once I realized that microgreens really could be a viable business, I was like, this is perfect for me because I love to grow. I have a personal focus on preparation, self-sustainability. This folds into that.
Upshaw says becoming a microgreens grower is surprisingly easy. Becoming a good one is hard, and financial success is even harder.
I started growing microgreens from Dollar Tree stuff. I went and got some basic Tupperware containers, their dollar potting soil they had, and they had this little tiny kit. It said microgreen seed mix. That's what I mixed in there. And I went on Amazon and got a couple like little T5 lights, about the basics you can get.
So sure, home growers, gardeners can do this. It doesn't take a lot, and they need some seeds that maybe are specialized as microgreens, but most anything can be turned into a young plant, a microgreen. So they can do this. It takes some grow lights maybe in a house, or maybe if they've got a small greenhouse, they can use that. Sometimes growers will use a small bottom flat and they'll put a soilless media in there and sprinkle the seeds on top of that. There's also, they can use food grade burlap and seeds can be put in there.
The difference between a hobbyist and a professional microgreen grower is attention to detail. Upshaw uses about 200 square feet in his Richmond apartment, but he's a certified Virginia grown producer.
When we're dealing with microgreens, it is a 100% person-involved thing. So honestly, I will reject anyone saying that I'm anything less than a farmer or agriculturalist, because the vast majority of what you see here is going to market. It is feeding people. It is enriching their lives. It's growing in soil. And I'm very passionate about what I do. And so I 100% am a farmer.
Upshaw takes pains to raise various plants like broccoli, mustard, and radishes that taste good together in his microgreen selections. And he prefers to eat them raw instead of cooking to preserve nutrients. Even sunflowers make good microgreens.
The best way for consumers to find probably microgreens is going to be definitely at farmers markets. That's where it seems like the trend is right now. People find those. Obviously they go to restaurants and they see those microgreens on entrees and salads and in smoothies. But I think you can also look online and find maybe some growers that are selling at the farm. So there's a few different ways you can find them.
Yeah, I just want to encourage people to try them. And I mean, like a lot of us, I know I will for certain. We'll give you a free sample. If you're like, hey, I've never tried microgreens before, I will give you a box of microgreens. There's no skin on my back. And you can have microgreens and you can try them out, what do you want to do, or ask for things. And of course, you can always go on the internet because there's going to be 101 recipes for things you can do there.
Microgreens may not be for sale at your local grocery store, but they're the real deal for some small-scale Virginia producers. And their nutritional value can't be denied. In Richmond, Virginia, I'm Ricky Gibson reporting.
We're so glad you could join us this week to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we are proud to say that this is real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.